wanted to get home instantly and check the simulator's progress, so we didn't chat much more. I sprinted all the way back to my apartment. Garlic Tribe. Your god has returned. Pushing the door open, I saw the computer desk right in front. The cactus minion immediately knelt and bowed to me. I noticed my studio apartment looked completely brand new. The sheets, duvet covers, pillowcases, and curtains had all become a shade brighter. The surface dust and stains had all been sucked away. The wardrobe and nightstand were wiped clean and shiny. The room smelled faintly of fresh plants. The only things the cactus hadn't touched were the computer and the desk. In its eyes, these two items seemed to be some sacred, inviolable domain. Only the god can touch them. The 24-inch LCD monitor glowed white. Since I found out the god simulator runs on its own, I just stopped turning off my PC. I let the simulator run 24/7. Sitting at the desk, the Garlic Tribe had changed again. The population reached 38. Among the 13 newcomers, there were Forest Tribe members in leather vests, barefoot, shirtless wandering natives, and even a hairy savage, wearing only leaves. Faith had jumped to 44 points, enough for 2 more lightning strikes. The Cactus Minion and Vigor Cane combined provided 2 faith points per hour. That's fixed income. The new population provided variable income. Now for today's main event. I opened my bag and pulled out a clear plastic bag filled with light brown seeds, wheat seeds. This was a carefully considered decision. The Garlic Tribe needs to be fed first, before they can develop writing, pottery, or weapons. Once they have enough food, they'll naturally have higher needs and motivation. A prompt appeared on screen. Do you wish to grant wheat to your believers? Yes. A moment later, outside the temple, exclamation marks popped up over the tribe's heads. They raised their arms and cheered. The gods boon. Long live the miracle. Oh great God, thank you for your boon. Wheat. Magical wheat. Delicious food. Let's feast. The god granted us wheat. We must use it well, so our god's faith can spread across the world, just like the garlic. As expected of the only educated one in the tribe, the prophet saw the big picture. Faith jumped from 44 to 84. I recall garlic added 15 points. Wheat brought in 40. It seems boons have different levels of impact. So far, food has the biggest impact on the Garlic Tribe. A while later, the prophet walked into the temple, knelt in prayer, and a question mark appeared. I clicked on his query. Oh great God, the Forest Tribe knows of a dying old god's apostle, and wishes to sacrifice them to you. However, they want us to teach them about wheat in exchange. But wheat is incredibly precious. My humble wisdom cannot weigh this choice. I can only devoutly ask, Almighty God Yao, can you grant us a revelation? The screen displayed options. Do you wish to share wheat with the Forest Tribe? To trade for the apostle? In this god simulator, there was no detailed lore for this pixel world, nor did it provide a full map or detailed stats. As a god, I had to figure it out step by step. When that black bear attacked the tribe, I thought it was just a wild animal at first. Only when the prophet examined the corpse was the demon worshipper revealed. In a way, I didn't know much more than these pixel people. I simply had the status of a player they couldn't comprehend, like an alien god descending upon their pixel world. Then it hit me. If there's an outsider god like me, there are likely local gods native to this world. I looked at the Vigor Cane in my hand, and the dormant Cactus Minion in its pot. Both treasures originally belonged to the god of the forest, and the temple indicated this god had fallen. That's why his possessions were scattered around. The god of the forest. Would such a god be considered an old god? Sadly, no one was around to answer my question. After thinking for a moment, I decided to make the trade. Wheat is precious, but once allied, the Garlic Tribe would struggle to monopolize this crop anyway. Rather than letting them freeload later, might as well make an open trade right now. I clicked yes, and a light bulb appeared over the prophet. Oh God, your servant knows what to do. He immediately opened a private chat with the shaman. The two sides quickly reached an agreement. Smiley faces popped up over the Forest Tribe members. God Yao has granted us food. Benevolent and great God Yao. Then, the Forest Tribe members carried a stone coffin out of the forest. They carried it all the way to the Garlic Tribe's temple, and the Garlic Tribe brought it inside. A gray stone coffin icon appeared in the temple interface, labeled Apostle. I clicked on it. A portrait popped up. Inside the gray coffin lay a woman with her eyes blindfolded by a black cloth. There were tiny cracks running across her cheeks. Her body seemed sealed in ash and mud. The gray rocky shell almost blended entirely with the coffin. If it weren't for the faint outline of her soft features, she'd look just like a stone statue. Apostle. Dying. Affiliation, God of the Forest. Apostles carry out the God's will and commands, listen to the God's voice, and serve as vessels for the God's descent into the world. Based on the description, an apostle seems to be a unit the God player can directly control. but reviving her wouldn't be easy. I clicked on the apostle and got a prompt. Reviving and converting her to your temple's apostle requires a massive amount of faith. Do you wish to spend 500 faith points to convert the apostle? One lightning strike is 20 faith. The apostle equals 25 lightning strikes. I couldn't afford a faith expense of that magnitude right now. I had to put the apostle aside for now and focus on development. I thought about it. This dying apostle was a subordinate to the god of the forest. The vigor cane was dug out of the forest by the prophet. The cactus minion also came from the god of the forest, and they dug up a dying apostle under their temple. It seems this forest has some strong connection to that god. Too bad I couldn't talk to the pixel people or ask them any questions. Then I turned my focus back to building the tribe. I sent one brother to the river and the other into the forest. Since one used to be a fisherman and the other a hunter, they were in their element. The two heroes quickly reported back. The parts of the river with the most fish are deep. We need boats. The tribe needs to build boats to catch fish. Medicinal herbs found in the forest. They have animal bite marks and bloodstains on them, but they're unidentifiable. Requires a pharmacist to identify. The resources are there. They just lack the professionals. I knew rushing wouldn't help, so I just relaxed and watched. I found 2 frozen solid corns in my fridge, boiled them for dinner, and munched on the hot, soft corn, while watching the pixel people bustle about. It felt like being a kid again, watching ants on the ground. A simple, pure joy. Not long after, it started snowing in the pixel world. Winter had arrived. Aside from the 2 heroes, the wandering garlic tribe members all returned. Everyone hid inside their huts for warmth. During the short days, they scavenged for branches as firewood, and cleared snow around the temple and fields. Good thing the wheat was planted early. The harvest provided the tribe with ample food. Facing the harsh winter, the pixel people weren't afraid at all. Happy emojis popped up over their heads. We have wheat. Plenty of food. No one will starve this winter. Thank God for the wheat and garlic. Right then, the forest tribe paid a sudden visit. Unlike their past trading visits, this time the shaman led them personally. The prophet welcomed them. They lit a bonfire in the snow and warmed up with their allies. An anxious expression appeared over the shaman's head. Friends of the garlic tribe, we've run into a crisis we cannot solve. We beg for your help. 20 hunters from the forest tribe, our very best hunters. They went deep into the forest for one last hunt, to prepare for winter. But an avalanche from the mountain buried them in the forest. We can't find them. Only a god's mighty power can save them. We beseech the Yao temple. May Almighty God Yao take pity on these hunters. If he helps them survive, we will build a temple in our tribe to worship God Yao, offering sacrifices and our tribe's loyalty. An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet. Since you seek the god's blessing, then go to the temple and pray to God Yao. Only the most devout requests will earn the god's mercy and boons. The shaman and his people began praying around the temple. I pondered this. According to the shaman, if I can find those men, they'd build a temple in the forest tribe too, meaning I could grant boons to 2 tribes at once and get double the sacrifices. But how do I save hunters trapped in deep snow? I thought of the scorching sun miracle. It costs 25 faith points. Unleashing it should melt the heavy snow. I selected scorching sun, aimed at the northernmost part of the forest visible on screen, maximized the range, and clicked the sky above the northern forest. A brilliant golden light appeared, and the thick white snow quickly melted away, revealing many shivering figures on the ground. An exclamation mark popped up over the kneeling shaman. Oh great God, the forest tribe deeply thanks you for your mercy. We have no doubt in your mighty power. We will immediately build a temple to worship you. The shaman sent a group of his people, who quickly rushed north to the melted forest. They soon brought back the missing hunters. True to his word, the forest tribe also built a temple. But to my disappointment, the temple interface didn't change at all. My plan for double boons and sacrifices didn't pan out. But there was a silver lining. Your miracle has turned the forest tribe's attitude to worship. Because they worship the same god, the forest tribe is merging with the garlic tribe. My spirits lifted. If I could merge over 100 people from the forest tribe, that would be a massive boost. Over 100 faith points. More population means expanding the temple's area of influence. More manpower means triggering more random events. The faith spent just now had bought long-term, continuous returns. I noticed that the forest tribe didn't really have a god. They had no temple and no totem. The shaman didn't act like the prophet, showing no reliance on any deity. He was more like an experienced elder, guiding the tribe using ancestral wisdom. That was good news for me. If the forest tribe worshipped another god, there'd likely be a clash of faiths. A war could even break out between the tribes. Now, between the 2 tribes, a wider road had been established. Houses were being built along both sides. There were the garlic tribe's thatched huts, and the forest tribe's treehouses. The two tribes were growing closer. As I waited for the tribes to fully merge, a sudden ringing sound echoed. It came from outside. I live in an old residential complex. The alley is pretty empty during the day, and even quieter at night. I walked to the window and looked out. Something was swaying left and right under the streetlight. It looked like something was hanging from the pole. Looking closely, a person was strung up on a concrete streetlight pole with a rope. A phone ringing was exceptionally clear in the alley. I immediately called the police. Hello? Is this the police? Someone is hanging by a rope in the alley outside. I'm at the locomotive factory dorms in Joyuan community. Please come quickly. The police asked for the detailed address and situation, told me not to act rashly, and said they were on their way. Putting down my phone, I breathed a small sigh of relief. Best leave this kind of thing to the professional cops. At that moment, the dormant cactus minion suddenly jumped onto the windowsill. It faced the direction of the person in the alley, its thorns bristling, seemingly on high alert. What is it? Did you find something? The cactus minion nodded. Sigh. Too bad you can't speak. Great God Yao. If you say I can speak, your servant shall speak. The cactus knelt on the ground, uttering a voice with a strange accent. I was startled. You can speak? You granted permission. So your humble servant can speak. What did you notice about that hanging person? My God, that is a demonic ritual. Demons gain faith through cruel, extreme rituals, using fear and ignorance to capture and control believers. Demons? What's the difference between a demon and a god? My God, a demon is just an evil god from the other side. Hearing this, I understood. A demon, by another name, was just another god player. Other than me, there was someone else, also using the god simulator to harvest sacrifices. I immediately recalled what Sister Feng had said. A creep was lurking around Joyuan community. I silently warned myself to be more careful. I couldn't let anyone discover the simulator on my PC. If a demon player found out, they would definitely try to steal my magic items, or even attack me. And that wouldn't just be a game anymore. I found a small flower pot, and told the cactus minion, without my permission, you cannot move around, and you cannot speak. You are just a regular cactus. Stay in here and behave yourself. Understand? Yes, my God. The cactus minion bowed. Out in the alley, the phone kept ringing over and over, like a cry for help. I looked back at the person strung up under the streetlight. She seemed exhausted. She stopped struggling and swaying. Her features became much clearer under the light. She was wearing a black bra, and her skin seemed covered in blood. I remembered I had a pair of binoculars. With the binoculars, I got a much better look. I actually knew the person under the streetlight. She was a hairdresser who worked across the street at a salon called Benchmark Cuts. She went by Angel at work. Her real name was unknown because the shop was cheap. $15 for a wash, cut, and blow dry. I got my hair cut there a lot and remembered her. She had dyed pale blonde hair and was in her early 20s. She had a soft voice and didn't force awkward small talk. She was quite pleasant. After the police rescued Angel, she was completely traumatized. She didn't say a word, just wrapped herself in a jacket a cop gave her, looking completely dazed. Her body was painted in blood with strange symbols. The symbols looked like distorted Arabic numerals, linking together, like a kind of chain, wrapping around her body layer by layer. The police locked down the scene and came to my door to take my statement. I truthfully told them what I saw, only hiding the parts about the simulator and the demonic ritual. By the time the statement was done, it was already 2 a.m. Holding the vigor cane, I wasn't sleepy at all. I looked at the cactus in the pot on my desk. Have you been to our world before? Your humble servant is visiting your divine realm for the first time. However, the divine realm of the god of the forest seemed different from yours. It was covered in water. I am too insignificant. I cannot begin to understand what a divine realm truly is. What did the god of the forest look like? We could not look upon him. Just like you, great God. We cannot describe the appearance of such a great being. I could only vaguely see a few shadows cast by the gods. I pried some info out of the cactus. He didn't have a name. He was created by the god of the forest, one of many cactus minions. He spent his whole life doing chores in the temple. After the god of the forest granted them and sent them into the pixel world, he never recalled them. He only knew the temple slowly fell into ruin, meaning the god of the forest had fallen. Eventually, the cactus was buried when the temple collapsed. Many years later, he was dug up by forest tribe members foraging for mushrooms. But only a god can command a cactus minion. Pixel lifeforms could never make it revert to its true form. Since you're a relic left behind by the god of the forest, let's call you Little Flame. The next day, as it was almost time to clock out at work, did you hear? That creep showed up again yesterday. Still around your Joyuan community. See, I told you it was dangerous. Good thing you didn't walk home in the dark. I can't imagine if you ran into that creep. As a token of thanks, I ordered her a small cake and a coffee for delivery. After work, I hopped on a shared e-bike and sped home. Compared to the bus, e-bikes dodge traffic and take shortcuts. Theoretically, it's the fastest way to travel. Back home, I couldn't wait to sit at my computer. On screen, the Pixel World's winter was over. The snow was completely gone, replaced by patches of sprouts and green grass. The Garlic tribe members were clearing more land. The Forest tribe members were out hunting. Everyone returned to their familiar routines, looking at the neatly arranged, ever-expanding wheat fields. Even a god like me felt pleased. The prophet and the shaman stood outside the temple, seemingly in a private chat again. Smiley faces popped up occasionally, making it look casual and relaxed. The Forest tribe. Our ancestors once worshipped the old god of the forest. But that's just a story passed down by the elders. They say it happened in the last era. The elders say, before the god of the forest vanished, this forest covered over half the world. Back then, all beasts were friends of the Forest tribe. Fierce demons were tamed into servants. Everyone lived long lives, coexisted with the trees, and possessed power granted by the god. However, that is too far in the past now. So far back, we can't be sure what's true and what's false. Since the time of the previous shaman, the Forest tribe has suffered chronic food shortages. Animals are becoming scarcer. Shadows of demon worshippers now roam the woods. This forest is dying. My friend, I must now make a difficult decision. We want to move out of the forest and worship at the temple. Will God Yao accept the Forest tribe? An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet, followed by a light bulb. As long as you are devout believers, God Yao will protect you. The Garlic tribe welcomes you. A prompt appeared on screen. The Garlic and Forest tribes have merged. Faith has slightly increased. Boon complete. Wheat has fully merged with the world. I quickly looked at the top right corner. Faith had jumped from 79 to 237. Population jumped from 38 to 196. I couldn't help but fist pump the air. Yes, my early investments and patience had finally paid off. After the two tribes officially merged, the Forest tribe members slowly moved out, copying the Garlic tribe. They built thatched huts, cleared farmland, and planted wheat and garlic. On the other hand, the Forest tribe's hunters remained, venturing into the forest regularly to hunt, bringing back much-needed meat and leather. Gradually, the Garlic tribe members also started wearing leather vests. You could no longer tell the two tribes apart by looks. The new Garlic tribe was thriving, but those two brothers ran into trouble. At some point, they had ventured into the farthest western part of the forest, bordering the endless mountain ranges. They were now sounding the alarm, sprinting back toward the tribe. Enemies in the forest. Enemy attack. Alarm! The hero's discovery mobilized the entire tribe. Led by the prophet and the shaman, the hunters grabbed their wooden spears, ready for battle. Soon, the enemies from the western forest revealed themselves. A group of savages wearing animal skins and wielding stone axes. There were only a dozen or so savages, but they were incredibly fierce, clashing violently with our 30-plus hunters. Hand over your food, or we'll kill you all. If you don't give us food, you heretics will die. The hunters struggled against these savages. Thankfully, the two heroes proved their worth. Wielding their wooden sticks, they focused on sneaking up and whacking the savages from behind. Thanks to their agility, the savages could hardly touch them. This fighting style was simple but effective, constantly frustrating the savages. The savages were soon repelled. They cursed as they retreated. How dare you fight back? You're dead. We'll be back. Wash your necks and wait to die. I felt a bit regretful watching this. We didn't just wipe out these bandits. They just drove them off. Then, the shaman spoke. It's the barbarian tribe. They live in the mountains. They have no intelligence, and are as fierce as wild beasts. The barbarian tribe is very powerful. Every one of them is a strong warrior. They constantly plunder food from nearby tribes. A large portion of the Forest tribe's food was stolen by them. They are demon worshippers. Given demonic power, they can turn into beasts. We cannot fight them. It suddenly dawned on me. So that black bear from before was a barbarian warrior. No intelligence. Fierce as a wild beast. No wonder that guy last time couldn't even tell the Garlic and Forest tribes apart, and attacked the wrong target. I looked at the potted plant on my desk. Little flame. My God. Your loyal servant is at your command. The cactus immediately hopped out of the soil, standing at attention. Can all demon worshippers turn into beasts? My God, transforming into beasts should be a type of demonic ability. Only a tiny fraction of believers, those called heroes, can awaken this demonic power and use this ability. I see. The black bear I lightning strike last time left a full corpse. precisely because he was a hero among demon worshippers, stronger than ordinary pixel people. I looked at the two brothers again. You guys are heroes too. Why don't you have any special abilities? Opening their stats panel, I suddenly realized I judged them too quickly. The hero who liked fish, level 2 fisherman. Attack 2. Defense 1, luck 2. Awakened ability, water divination, level 1. Can find water sources in any environment. The hero who liked boars, level 2 hunter. Attack 3, defense 2. Awakened ability, tracking, level 1. Can identify tracks left by people and animals. They secretly leveled up. Though these aren't combat skills, their utility is great. With tracking, no wonder they spotted the barbarian tribe. I wronged you guys. I shifted my gaze to the mountains west of the forest. That's the barbarian tribe's settlement. You think you can just leave after offending a god? Not so fast. I immediately formed a counterattack plan. First, I sent the two heroes into the western mountains to scout. With tracking and water divination, they make perfect scouts. Next, I opened the temple interface. The boon slot was empty. I dug around in my bag and pulled out a red and yellow children's toy bow and arrow. Pure plastic. The arrowheads were soft rubber. I bought it at a toy store after work. Bows and arrows are deadly weapons for early tribal civilizations. It frees people from the high-risk combat of melee fighting, allowing them to wear down enemies from a distance. Though it's a toy, the mechanics and structure are the same. I placed the toy bow and arrow on the mouse. In the boon slot, a red and yellow bow and arrow icon appeared. Bow and arrow. A god's boon. A powerful ranged weapon with long reach. One of the most important weapons for armies and hunters. Do you wish to grant the bow and arrow to your believers? I clicked yes. Exclamation marks popped up over all Garlic tribe members. God Yao has bestowed a new boon. Bows and arrows. Magical bows and arrows. An amazing weapon. We don't need to fear enemies anymore. The hunters had the strongest reaction. Not only did they have smiley faces, they literally danced for joy. They quickly crafted their own bows and arrows, and eagerly rushed into the forest. A question mark appeared over the prophet. Bows and arrows are deadly ranged weapons. The god wants us to arm ourselves, so we are no longer threatened and attacked. The god's will is for us to fight against the demon worshippers, to defeat those evil, savage brutes. That must be it. The shaman's thought process was different. A bow and arrow is like a frog's tongue. Those wielding it can hunt from a safe distance. Equipped with bows and arrows, we can hunt not just rabbits and monkeys, but also shoot down flying birds. We won't fear getting hurt by venomous snakes, bears, or wolves anymore. We need more bows and arrows. Everyone can be a warrior. A prompt popped up on screen. Your boon has taught your believers to craft and use bows and arrows. Faith has increased. Faith shot up by 30 points at once, reaching 267. After mastering archery, the Garlic tribe visibly became much more martial. Every pixel person heading out carried a bow and arrow. Hunters started bringing back bears and deer. Large prey like that. More leather was draped over the huts, and more dried meat hung on wooden racks. Meanwhile, there was news from the two heroes. Found a new tribe. The Salt Lake tribe. They heard we have food and want to trade. Didn't find the barbarian tribe, but made an unexpected discovery. I pulled the brothers back to the tribe. They returned, bringing people from the Salt Lake tribe with them. Two people arrived, wearing linen clothes and carrying cloth bags. They looked quite wealthy. As soon as they arrived, they started talking trade with the prophet and shaman. The Salt Lake tribe has always traded with other tribes, trading salt for food, clothes, and medicine. We wish to trade salt for your wheat. A question mark popped up over the prophet. This seems like an opportunity. I must try to spread faith for our God. I watched with satisfaction. The prophet really understands me. Friends of the Salt Lake tribe, have you considered a better place to live? The Salt Lake tribe members looked at each other. We have the Salt Lake. The Salt Lake is everything. It can trade for anything. We don't need anything else. The shaman also chimed in to persuade them. The barbarian tribe is in the mountains. They worship a demon. They will attack any tribe that doesn't worship their demon. The Salt Lake tribe cannot avoid them forever. Smiley faces appeared over the Salt Lake tribe members. That's not a problem. We also worship that demon lord. Exclamation marks exploded over the Garlic tribe members' heads. The Salt Lake tribe explained. The Salt Lake tribe temple worships 3 gods, including the one you see as a demon. We live off the Salt Lake and salt making. As long as it leads to a better life, we can accept any faith. If necessary, we are willing to worship the god here too. The prophet and shaman were stunned. I couldn't help but exclaim, wow, this Salt Lake tribe is the first polytheistic tribe I've seen. They are highly pragmatic about their interests, showing traces of early merchants. After consulting, the prophet and shaman reached a consensus. Trade agreed. The Garlic tribe began trading with the Salt Lake tribe. The Salt Lake tribe's attitude became neutral. The two Salt Lake tribe members walked around the tribe. Suddenly, exclamation marks popped up over their heads. Garlic! It's a spice! Found a unique commodity! They excitedly raised their arms. Please give us as much garlic as possible. Priceless garlic! Beautiful, spicy garlic! I chuckled. I didn't expect my initial careless action would actually come in handy now. In early human civilization, spices were extremely expensive luxury goods. Wheat and bows were relatively common items, but garlic was the only spice in the area. The Salt Lake tribe members left behind 2 bags of salt, reserved a large amount of garlic, and hurried back. A few minutes later, a prompt appeared on screen. The Salt Lake tribe has decided to make garlic a key commodity. Attitude changed to friendly. Your faith will spread within the Salt Lake tribe. Your boon has overjoyed the Salt Lake tribe. Faith has slightly increased. Faith jumped by 120 points, reaching 387 straight away. I was stunned. The Salt Lake tribe seemed quite remarkable. Just giving them the distribution rights to garlic yielded so much faith. Their population in scale far exceeded the forest tribe. On second thought, it makes sense. To easily juggle 3 different gods, they must have real power. If they weren't tough themselves, the barbarian tribe would have crushed them long ago. Near midnight, the garlic tribe suffered a second attack from the barbarian tribe. 25 pelt-wearing barbarian warriors wielding stone axes charged out from the western forest. But this time, the garlic tribe's hunters had pulled back their lines early and readied their bows. Under the hero's command, they unleashed a volley of arrows. The barbarians were riddled with arrows. They seemed to have zero experience fighting archers, relying purely on their pelts and bodies to tank the hits. In the end, only 6 or 7 managed to reach the hunters. With absolute numerical superiority and the power of bows, the barbarians were wiped out. Aside from those killed or who fled, the garlic tribe also captured 4 barbarian warriors. The prophet interrogated them. Where is your tribe? Never betray. What demon do you worship? Glory belongs to the god. You heretics will all die. How many of you are there in total? Never betray. The 4 wouldn't spill a word. The experienced shaman tried a different approach. Your bravery and loyalty have earned our respect. You have been defeated. Going back will only bring punishment from your demon and tribe. Here, we have wheat to fill your bellies. We have powerful bows and arrows. We have delicious garlic. We also have dried meat and salt. Joining the garlic tribe is not a betrayal, because you will worship the great god Yao. With the god's protection, the demon cannot harm you. The 4 warriors fell silent for a moment. Exclamation marks popped up over their heads. We joined the garlic tribe. The shaman sure knows people. Then the 4 spilled everything. The tribe is in the mountains to the northwest, next to a massive cave. There are 82 of us in total, excluding the old and weak. We have 40 available warriors. There's a statue by the cave. It's a god wearing animal skins, called the beast-slaying god. The beast-slaying god demands living sacrifices to skin their pelts, so the tribe must raid for food. The tribe has birthed 2 beast shifter heroes. One went missing while attacking the forest tribe. The other